Hi, this is Hamada, and welcome to Final 50. Now, not too long ago, my mother and I watched the movie The Swimmers on Netflix, and it really resonated with us. Now, I wanted my mother to see the movie because she's an immigration consultant in Canada and has helped hundreds of refugee families seeking safety and opportunity in the country. And for me, the movie moved me personally, and here's why. So let me paint for you the context. In 2015, there were over 1 million refugees that crossed into Europe from different parts of Asia, the Middle East, and Africa. And in the small island of Lesbos, which is just off the coast of Turkey, 10,000 people would cross almost every single day during that year to seek refuge into Greece and then cross from Greece into Europe. So that brings us to spring 2017. Now, I was in graduate school and a few of my colleagues organized a service trek to the island of Lesbos to do our part. We were only there a week, but the goal was to give hope to these refugees that were in many cases stranded in camps on the island and to new refugees that may potentially be arriving on the island. There were 30 of us volunteers that traveled to Lesbos, an island that really usually only has about 80,000 inhabitants. But during the crisis, the island expanded almost 5 times its size in terms of trying to accommodate for the refugees that came across from Turkey. Now, we were split up into 2 groups to work with 2 different organizations. One was called Movement on the Ground, and some of us were tasked with providing brain trust, guidance, and providing methodologies, especially for upskilling these refugees so that they could learn micro work opportunities that they could eventually use once they were able to leave the island. The second group was tasked to work with the Emergency Rescue Center International, the ERCI, which, as you remember, Sara Mardini was working with them and leading that organization. So it was an incredible experience to work alongside Sara and others within that organization to really be able to provide support to the refugees. Now, as one of several Arabic speakers on the trip, and as an immigrant myself, I felt a close connection with a lot of the refugees, predominantly led by Syrians at the time. Now, our duties really kind of included several things. We were walking around the camps, there were 2 of them, and we would walk around until dawn to make sure that we were addressing all the needs of the residents. And we also were helping the children, supporting the single mothers, doing food preparation, warehouse distribution. I think one of the most memorable things I did was really working with a couple of people to teach the children to swim. And it was an unreal experience, like the difference of life and death during the journey. And now they were just splashing around the water and trying to enjoy it. It's just a juxtaposition that was really, really heartfelt. And we also practiced what we would do if a boat arrived and how we would get them offshore and into safety. And I remember working with Sara and her co-leaders like Nassos and Sean and so forth, who really inspired us because what they were doing was just remarkable. They had given up so much of their lives to come out there and work with these people and had choices to do it, but decided to really put it all aside. And it gave us a sense of gratitude, like it was just an unbelievable experience to work with these people, to serve refugees. And just, I was thankful to be able to do, what little part I had. I have to say that one of the most powerful experiences though on the trip was seeing something called the Lifejacket Graveyard. So one of the days, a few of us decided to drive around the island. We took the car, went around the island because we'd heard about this Lifejacket Graveyard, but we didn't believe it. And we just drove around for several hours going down dead-end streets, little towns. We just kind of circumvented almost the whole island to see it. And then suddenly we went over a hill. And as we went over this crest of a hill, we could see nothing but just discarded life jackets. It was like a hollowed ground before us, like just thousands of these life jackets, little teddy bears, clothes, shoes, hats, you name it, bags, everything was just kind of thrown there, broken boats, just discarded like a graveyard, literally. It was really nothing short of apocalyptic. And I remember when I returned back to grad school, I wrote an article about it, which I'll post in the description below. I said each jacket represented a metamorphosis, a shedding of a past life of turmoil in hope for a new one full of promise. Yet it also put the European refugee crisis into perspective. Existential fear during the precarious sea journey, ephemerally relieved by landfall, only to be tested again by the perilous trek across Europe or by the specter of deportation. And for those who've seen the movie, I guess now you'll know that Sara was actually arrested in 2018 and detained for people smuggling, money laundering, espionage, and membership to a criminal organization. Not just her, but Nassos and Sean, some of the people that were working with ERCI out there. And it was just unbelievable. They were detained for several months, and now the ERCI is defunct. Camp Moira, which is one of the main camps there, burned to the ground in 2022. And while the refugees in Lesbos have become just a trickle, the refugee crisis still exists in Europe. Hundreds of thousands still try to cross, and many, many don't make it across the Mediterranean to seek a new life in Europe. Now look, I have to say that I really hope that the legal system will exonerate Sara and her co-defendant by recognizing the nobility of what she was trying to do. That even though one can throw the book on her, as a lawyer I can say myself that, her actions, they were expedient to try to serve a more humane purpose. And that purpose is far from a crime. And despite these sad realities for me, that service trek was just a reminder that you always have to give it back. Give it back as often as you can, even if you're traveling, even if it's just for leisure. Because it really was a heartfelt experience, and watching that movie Swimmers brought it all back to me. Now, I concluded that article that I wrote back in grad school with the following sentiments to really encourage public service. Teach, volunteer, run for office, or whatever service you choose. No matter whether you win or lose, reach a broad audience or only a few friends, save one life or many. Action in the service of others can inspire hope, purpose, and benevolent action that is critical in a world of constant struggle and turmoil. Now, I witnessed this firsthand on the island of Lesbos and believe that to truly appreciate life and to thrive, one needs to be empathetic to others, to be humble, open-minded, and giving. This is a change in terms of my mindset that I've experienced, especially during my global travels. Thank you for watching and being with me on this very, very personal journey. As I always say, stay curious, and I look forward to seeing you on my next trip.